Hello and welcome. I'm Sima Katauka and you're watching Deep Dive on News 6 World. The big news item of this week centers on Russian President Vladimir Putin's visit to the Indian capital of New Delhi, where the Russian and Indian leaders gave fresh impetus to the special and privileged strategic partnership between their two countries. President Putin's first India trip in 4 years comes against the backdrop of increasing global pressure on customers of Russian energy. The United States of America and European Union have continued to ramp up pressure on Russian energy companies with heavy sanctions on everything from procuring and refining assets to so-called shadow fleets flying Russian oil and gas across the world. As American President Trump claims to have convinced Indian Prime Minister Modi to reduce imports of Russian energy, the announcements made alongside President Putin in New Delhi paint an entirely different picture. Here's what the Russian president has shared about energy ties between India and Russia following talks with his Indian counterpart.
Россия является надежным поставщиком энергоресурсов и всего, что необходимо для развития энергетики Индии. Мы готовы и далее обеспечивать бесперебойную поставку топлива для быстро растущей индийской экономики.
While trade in traditional energy dominates headlines when it comes to India-Russia ties, this meeting was all about diversifying the relationship beyond energy and defense. India and Russia have had a decades-old nuclear relationship, with Russian technology helping India build its footprint as a nuclear-capable nation, a reputation that New Delhi has over the years earned beyond any shadow of doubt. To this latest moment, Russia and India have now strengthened cooperation in the field of nuclear energy, exchanging memoranda of understanding in civil nuclear energy. The focus, according to Putin, will be on small modular reactors alongside strengthening cooperation in existing joint initiatives like India's largest nuclear power plant at Kudankulam. With the announcements made by the Russian President and Indian Prime Minister, it is clear that new chapter is commencing in India-Russia ties, greatly exacerbated by Western belligerence. For decades, India and Russia have been reliable partners in energy and defense technology, as well as, interestingly, what was not addressed in the remarks following the meeting was just as enlightening as what was addressed. No major defense-related acquisitions were announced by the leaders, spare a commitment to streamline the delivery and maintenance of equipment currently being acquired by India. This is significant, particularly given the buzz around India's requirement for next-generation stealth fighter jets and Russia offering its Sukhoi 57 jets for sale. On the economic front, India and Russia have given a boost to free trade agreement between India and Eurasian Economic Union, comprised of Russia, Armenia, Belarus, Kyrgyzstan, and Kazakhstan. This FTA, alongside the continued uptick in the use of national currencies, will turbocharge the bid by both countries to hit $100 billion in bilateral trade by 2030. Another key aspect which could potentially raise eyebrows in the West is with regards to digital payment services, with Putin announcing an active bid to explore linking India's RuPay app with Russia's Mir payments systems. This would allow for increased expansion of local currency routing instead of dollar clearing channels, as tourists and businesses will be able to settle accounts in their local currencies rather than the US dollar standard. Alongside this, India is also set to receive increased FDI inflow with the launch of special instrument by Russia's state-owned SBER Bank, offering private Russian investors an opportunity to invest in India's Nifty 50 index. SBR Bank CEO Herman Graf has also announced a significant investment into Indian capital markets by the Russian bank. Joining us for a deeper conversation into all of this is Major General J.K. Bansal. He's a senior defense expert. Thank you very much and welcome to NewsX World. Now, what does India stand to gain from Russian knowledge in small modular nuclear reactors? Could you tell us more about what India can expect from enhanced civil nuclear cooperation with Russia?
For the nuclear purpose, it is a kind of small reactor, not a very big one. And even this kind of reactors can be used for the submarine. So these are the reactors which India has been talking to Russia as well as to the France at one point of time. So that is very useful. It can be without much paraphernalia or much efforts. It does not require any cooling or any bigger things. Whatever is required for the bigger plant, the small modular nuclear reactors are very, very useful, which India and Russia are thinking on those lines. And this is one of the nuclear energy, in addition to whatever the oil and gas energy and even coal, which is being imported from Russia. So those are the kind of energy. In addition to energy, we have got the trade. And there is the only problem is now we are importing weapons, we are importing energy, we are importing other equipment also. But the export is very limited. We have about $68 billion trade with Russia, while from India is only about $5 billion. There is a gap and deficit. That is the one thing which one has to, this gap is to be bridged. And for that, India is exporting pharmaceutical to Russia and textiles, something like that. And moreover, now there is a free trade agreement is also thought to be. And in addition to that, the skilled and semi-skilled labor can also, that kind of service also can be given to Russia. Moreover, India can also export like electronics. However, the electronics, the China is also exporting to Russia, and that market is flooded. But the main problem now is how to bridge this gap, for which they are being working. And at the same time, India will be helping or having a collaboration with Russia for making ships and to have a kind of icebreakers in Arctic. The Arctic also, where Russia is preferring involvement of India rather than China. And there is a Chennai, Vladivostok, this corridor where this ship or the maritime things will be for the Indo-Pacific problems, Indo-Pacific area. So likewise, there is a multi-dimensional. Today there was about 8 memorandum of standings were signed between India and Russia to have, including that we will have from them this S-400 supply, which we have ordered for 5, only 3 had been supplied so far. 2 more has to be given to us. At the same time, the Russia has offered for the Su-57 stealth aircraft of 5th generation. So likewise, there is a very no-limit partnership kind of thing is there with Russia, and our relations are time-tested. That has been told by our Prime Minister and has been mentioned by President Putin also. So likewise, India and Russia are having very close relations, and which is growing by the time, and now they are becoming more strong. India is having independent foreign policy, and it is not dependent on any other countries. And this has been appreciated by Russian president also, that India is having, despite the pressure from US, we are buying oil from Russia, and which will continue. Yes.
Major General, and what does these remarks made by President Putin about uninterrupted energy supply say about the West's understanding of its influence on countries like India?
That's what he has. President Putin has mentioned that when the Russian oil can be bought by the European country, why this kind of pressure is there on India, which is not correct, which has been condemned by President Putin, that if there is, India is buying oil, there should not be the 25% tariff has been put. So we should not be there. But India is not coming to any kind of pressure. India is having independent policy, and India has very openly told also in various forum, and this forum also our Prime Minister has told that we are not neutral, we are by the side of peace, and we want a peaceful, amicable resolving of the problems by dialogue and diplomacy rather than any weapons or uh, any war. So likewise, which has been appreciated by President Putin, that India has shown concern, the Indian Prime Minister has always shown concern about Russia-Ukraine war. In that case also, and our Prime Minister has also appreciated that he has been kept informed whatever has been happening between during the war, and that kind of respect and that kind of confidence and trust between the two countries is the bond, and that is the strength of relation between the Russia and India. Back to you.
Yes, and Major General, a focus of the agreements have reached in New Delhi today has been enhancing access to Russian markets for Indian manufacturers. How do you view these?
You know, this Russian market access will be there, but as I told that yes, we have got strength for the pharmaceuticals, we have got a strength for the textile. So, but there is it depends how is the market is growing, but there is not, it cannot compensate or it cannot bridge the gap, which is going to be now. We are, of course, there is a joint production of urea also, which will be produced there. But now, what is being planned, that may be of some use in the sense that we are having BrahMos missiles, and these BrahMos missiles, India is having the rights to manufacture and to sell to different countries. Similarly, if S-400 or S-500 manufacturing is there in India, or maybe technology transfer for Su-57, so in that case, it will be win-win situation for both, because India has got the cheap labor, and we have got the skilled manpower, and moreover, there is no sanction on India for any kind of spare part and hardware. So in that case, the manufacturing can be joined, and whatever these weapons will be sold, the India will be benefited and will be compensated by whatever trade deficit. That could be one of the thing which can be thought of about between Russia and India. Back to you.
With that, I would like to thank Major General J.K. Bansal for joining us today as a senior defense expert. Thank you very much.